These caves are incredible. I don't even want to call them caves because it's called the Barabar caves, but these things are not caves. Does that look like a cave to anyone?
That looks
No.
like the entrance to a spaceship. That's
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's like a
Right.
single granite
Vein.
Huge piece.
Deep in the heart of India, shrouded in the mists of ancient history, lies a marvel of engineering and artistry that continues to baffle and amaze. The Barabar Caves, a series of rock-cut chambers carved into the granite hills of Bihar, India, the oldest rock-carved caves that exists to date. What secrets do they hold? How were they built? And what purpose did they serve? Could humans really have created this ancient wonder? The Barabar Caves, discovered in the early 19th century, are believed to be the oldest surviving examples of rock-cut architecture in India, dating back to the 3rd century BC. They were commissioned by Ashoka the Great, the Mauryan emperor who famously converted to Buddhism after the bloody Kalinga War. These caves were meant to serve as retreats for monks and ascetics seeking spiritual enlightenment. What is immediately striking about the Barabar Caves is the sheer precision and polish of their construction. The walls and ceilings are so smooth, they seem almost mirrored. The interiors are devoid of any ornamentation, emphasizing their austere and contemplative purpose. Even today, after more than 2 millennia, the echo of a whisper reverberates through these chambers, creating an ethereal atmosphere. The most iconic of the Barabar Caves is the Lomas Rishi Cave, distinguished by its unique horseshoe-shaped entrance, reminiscent of the Chaitya halls of later Buddhist architecture. The interior is a single spacious chamber with a vaulted ceiling, culminating in a stupa-like projection at the far end. The acoustics within the Lomas Rishi Cave are extraordinary, creating a sense of otherworldly resonance that amplifies even the slightest sound. But how were these caves built? The technology available at the time was rudimentary, consisting mainly of iron chisels and hammers. Carving into the hard granite would have been an arduous and time-consuming task. Yet, the sheer scale and precision of the Barabar Caves suggest a level of mastery that seems almost impossible for the time. Some scholars theorize that the Mauryans might have employed advanced techniques, perhaps even using fire to weaken the rock before chiseling. Others speculate that they might have had access to specialized tools or knowledge that has since been lost. The mystery of their construction only adds to the allure of the Barabar Caves. The Barabar Caves are not just architectural marvels, they are also repositories of history. Inscriptions found within the caves provide valuable insights into the Mauryan era, including Ashoka's edicts promoting peace and nonviolence. These inscriptions show Ashoka's profound transformation from a ruthless conqueror to a benevolent ruler, a transformation that reverberated throughout the Indian subcontinent. But the Barabar Caves also raise intriguing questions. Why did Ashoka choose this particular location? Was it for its strategic importance, its natural beauty, or its spiritual significance? The story of the Barabar Caves is far from over. These ancient marvels hold more than just questions of technique and purpose. As we dig deeper into the mystery, we find that the caves are connected to a broader network of ancient secrets, some hiding in plain sight, others concealed beneath the surface of history. The Barabar Caves, it seems, are just the beginning. Let's turn our attention to the staggering amount of stone that was removed to create these caves. Carving out even one of these chambers would have required moving hundreds of tons of solid granite. While this might seem difficult enough today, with cranes and modern machinery, imagine doing it over 2,000 years ago with only basic tools. Experts estimate that the volume of rock removed from the Barabar and Nagarjuni caves combined is equivalent to the construction of an entire modern skyscraper. The caves aren't just hollow spaces, they are carefully engineered cavities with perfectly smooth walls and astonishing acoustic properties. This raises the question, were these caves intended for something far more complex than simple meditation? If we step outside the narrow confines of traditional archaeology, a number of unconventional theories begin to emerge. One of the most compelling is the possibility that these caves were not simply religious sanctuaries, but sites for ancient experiments with sound and resonance. Sound, after all, was a powerful force in many ancient cultures, believed to be a tool for healing, communication, and even construction. Could the Barabar caves have been designed to amplify certain frequencies, perhaps to aid in meditation or to access hidden states of consciousness? Some researchers propose that the unique sound dynamics within the caves were not accidental, but were the result of advanced knowledge of acoustics, knowledge that may have been lost to time. When comparing Barabar to other ancient acoustic marvels, such as the Hypogeum of Saflieni in Malta, where low-frequency sounds resonate powerfully within the subterranean chambers, the similarities are striking. In both cases, the structures amplify sound in ways that seem unnatural. Could there have been an ancient global understanding of sound technology that allowed different cultures to manipulate their environments for spiritual or scientific purposes? But even more provocative is the idea that the Barabar caves and the surrounding region could have been used for something much more practical. Some conspiracy theorists have speculated that these caves were not spiritual retreats, but part of a network of sites dedicated to early technological experiments, possibly in metallurgy or energy generation. Ancient India was known for its early advances in metallurgy, particularly with the discovery of Wootz steel, a high-carbon alloy that later became famous as Damascus steel. Could it be that the Barabar region, rich in iron ore, served as a hidden laboratory where ancient metallurgists conducted experiments in the production of alloys, harnessing the natural acoustic properties of the caves for unknown purposes? There's also the curious question of why the Ajivikas, a relatively obscure religious group, would commission such monumental works. Ajivikas were known for their strict ascetic practices, rejecting material wealth and worldly possessions. So why would they need such massive, intricately designed caves? Could it be that the caves had a dual purpose, both spiritual and scientific? Some researchers have suggested that the caves may have served as a place where spiritual leaders and early scientists exchanged ideas, blurring the line between religious meditation and scientific experimentation. This theory gains traction when we look at other caves and rock-cut structures in the region, like the Udayagiri and Khandagiri caves in Odisha, carved around the same time as Barabar. While Udayagiri and Khandagiri served more as monastic retreats for Jain monks, the designs are remarkably intricate, featuring tiered halls and passageways that hint at more than just religious devotion. Could these sites have been part of a larger network of spiritual and scientific centers stretching across ancient India? There is a growing belief that these cave complexes were not isolated projects, but rather the work of a sophisticated civilization with knowledge that extended beyond the spiritual into fields like geometry, engineering, and metallurgy. Looking westward, comparisons with the Ajanta and Ellora caves in Maharashtra become even more intriguing. Unlike Barabar, the Ellora complex contains vast temple structures, including the breathtaking Kailasa temple, which was carved from a single piece of rock. What ties these sites together is the sheer scale of excavation. While Barabar focuses on precision and acoustic properties, Ellora and Ajanta showcase the massive scale and intricacy of rock-cut architecture. The fact that both were created around the same time period raises questions. Were these part of a grander pan-Indian tradition of rock-cut engineering that blended religion with early scientific understanding? Could the same knowledge have flowed between these centers, each site fulfilling different roles in a complex network of spiritual, technological, and social life? There are also strange connections to be made when examining other rock-carved sites across the world. For instance, Petra, the ancient Nabatean city in Jordan, shares some remarkable similarities with Barabar. Both were carved into solid rock, both involved an unimaginable amount of labor, and both exhibit architectural features far ahead of their time. Petra, with its elaborate facades and hidden tombs, and Barabar, with its smooth chambers and enigmatic acoustics, may have been created for vastly different purposes, yet the precision and effort involved suggest that the people who built them shared a deep understanding of stoneworking and engineering. While mainstream historians argue that these similarities are coincidental, the evidence is difficult to ignore. Were these sites merely the result of isolated advances in technology, or were ancient cultures more connected than we realize, sharing techniques and knowledge across vast distances? Then there's the question of why these caves are located where they are. The Barabar caves are situated near Gaya, a place of immense spiritual significance in India. Gaya is not only home to the famous Bodh Gaya, where Buddha is said to have attained enlightenment, but the region itself is dotted with caves, temples, and religious sites. Could there be something about the land itself, something about the energy of the place, that made it a focal point for spiritual leaders and scientists alike?
Mohenjo-daro, in this valley, the buildings turned to glass. The sand turned to glass, and the bodies are still laying in the street right now today, holding hands, never been scavenged by animals.
They had no historical evidence of that. There's no text. It was not mentioned in any books. It was
Really?
Yep. It was found as an accident. They found it by accident.
This is evidence of a nuclear war. That's 3,000 plus degree temperature weapons fire.
They explain how the devastation looks, right? They talk about how high the temperature goes, how it looked like a sun when the explosion happened, how all the vegetation was completely wiped off and there were no plants or trees growing for the next 12 to 25 years.
They describe them as weapons that once released can't be revolted or can't be turned back, and that they will obliterate any area, any city. And they say that one of the weapons can destroy any man on 3 worlds. It's crazy stuff. This is where Oppenheimer got his famous quote when he obviously tested the nuke.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
In the scorching deserts of southern Pakistan lies an archaeological site that defies explanation, a city frozen in time, now shrouded in mystery and the whispers of lost civilizations. Welcome to Mohenjo-daro. Once a thriving metropolis during the height of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, this city's remains have puzzled researchers for nearly a century. But why does this city, over 4,000 years old, seem to vanish suddenly from history? Could it be that some catastrophic event wiped it off the map? Perhaps even turning parts of it into glass. Discovered in 1922 by an Indian archaeologist, R.D. Banerjee, Mohenjo-daro is located on the banks of the Indus River. What the world came to learn through its excavations was the stunning complexity of this civilization. At its peak, Mohenjo-daro housed as many as 40,000 inhabitants. But the real intrigue lies in its infrastructure, a grid-like city layout, advanced water drainage systems, and meticulously built homes made of baked bricks, a city so well organized that it rivals modern urban planning techniques. But who were these people, and what led to their mysterious disappearance? Let's start by looking at what they built. The city is constructed using uniform, fired bricks, with some weighing over 15 pounds. The scale of the city is impressive, spanning more than 300 hectares, roughly the size of 500 football fields. Each house was carefully positioned to align with the cardinal directions. But how did an ancient civilization develop such precision without modern technology? A central structure, known as the Great Bath, is another remarkable feature of Mohenjo-daro. Measuring 12 meters long and 7 meters wide, the bath is built with watertight bricks and a sophisticated drainage system, indicating that water held immense significance for the people of Mohenjo-daro. It is one of the earliest public waterworks ever discovered. But what was the purpose of this massive structure? Was it purely for hygiene, or did it have deeper, possibly spiritual, significance? Let's pause to consider the most perplexing discovery. Some sections of the ruins appear to have been subjected to extremely high temperatures, enough to melt or vitrify stone, turning it into glass. This phenomenon is known as vitrification, something typically associated with nuclear explosions or volcanic activity. Yet, no evidence of volcanic activity or natural firestorms has been found in the region. Could it be that some ancient technology, lost to time, was capable of unleashing such destructive energy? Some theorists have gone so far as to suggest that Mohenjo-daro might have been destroyed by an ancient nuclear explosion, It sounds far-fetched, but the vitrified remains beg for an explanation. But the mysteries don't end there. Among the discoveries were over 40 human skeletons, lying in the streets and various parts of the city. These remains were not buried in the traditional sense, indicating that whatever caused the downfall of Mohenjo-Daro was sudden and violent. Many of these skeletons showed no signs of trauma, yet some were found in postures suggesting they were fleeing from something. What could have caused such mass panic and sudden death? Was it a natural disaster, a catastrophic flood, or perhaps something even more terrifying? Now, consider this. The massive stone blocks and materials used in the city's construction were not native to the immediate region. In fact, some of the stones used in Mohenjo-Daro's construction had to be transported from quarries located over 300 kilometers away. How did they manage to move such enormous stones without the aid of modern machinery? Could they have had access to technologies we still don't fully understand? This comparison often draws parallels to the pyramids of Egypt and the stone structures of South America, where similarly, large stones were transported over great distances. The sheer size and weight of the materials used in these ancient cities challenge our understanding of what was possible in the ancient world. Another fascinating question arises when we consider the precision of Mohenjo-Daro's urban layout. The city's advanced planning and uniformity seem almost out of place in the ancient world. How did a society living over 4,000 years ago manage to create such an organized and structured cityscape without modern surveying tools? It's as though they were working with knowledge that far exceeded their time. Could they have been influenced by some advanced, now forgotten culture? Some theorists have even suggested extraterrestrial intervention, pointing to the similarity between Mohenjo-Daro's design and other mysterious ancient sites across the world. But what happened to this great city? Why was it abandoned so suddenly? While some archaeologists believe that environmental factors, such as flooding from the nearby Indus River, might have played a role, the evidence of extreme heat and vitrified ruins adds an ominous layer to the mystery. Could the people of Mohenjo-Daro have been the victims of an ancient catastrophe so powerful that it erased them from history almost instantly? As we delve deeper into the mysteries of Mohenjo-Daro, we must also consider the broader context of the Indus Valley civilization. This civilization was one of the largest of the ancient world, spanning parts of modern-day Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan. Yet despite its vast size, we know shockingly little about its people, their language, or their beliefs. Their script remains undeciphered, and their disappearance from history is as sudden as it is puzzling. And what about the artifacts found here? Pottery, jewelry, and even toys have been unearthed, but perhaps the most enigmatic discovery is the so-called dancing girl, a bronze statuette of a young woman that seems to exude a sense of sophistication and artistic flair far beyond what we would expect from a society of this age. Who was she? What role did she play in this mysterious civilization? Now, what could have caused a thriving civilization to vanish seemingly overnight? Let's begin with the most debated theory, the possibility of an ancient nuclear catastrophe. At first glance, the idea of nuclear technology existing over 4,000 years ago seems impossible. Yet, the vitrified ruins, sections of stone turned to glass by intense heat, suggest that something extraordinary happened here. In the 1970s, physicist Dr. Robert Oppenheimer, who led the Manhattan Project during World War II, was asked if the nuclear bomb tested in 1945 was the world's first atomic explosion. His response was chilling. Well, yes, in modern times. Was he hinting at an ancient nuclear event? Could Mohenjo-Daro have been the site of such an explosion? Adding to the intrigue is the lack of traditional warfare evidence in the city. No mass graves, no clear signs of battle, no damage to the structures that would suggest a large-scale conflict. Instead, the bodies found in the city were seemingly untouched by violence, lying in the streets as though something much more sinister and sudden occurred. Could this have been an accident, A release of untamed energy? Or something more deliberate, akin to a weapon of unimaginable power? Then, there's the question of the city's eerie disappearance. Unlike other ancient cities that gradually declined over time, Mohenjo-Daro appears to have been abandoned swiftly, almost as if its inhabitants knew that staying would lead to their demise.
Indian culture is extremely, extremely ancient. We have to accept that civilization in India is at least 5,000 years old. That is one of the mistakes in looking for a quote-unquote advanced civilization in the past, is that we tend to be looking for ourselves. Whereas it's possible for a civilization to be advanced in other ways.
Could the astonishing Kailasa temple at the Ellora Caves, carved meticulously from a single massive rock, truly be the work of mere mortal hands?
There is a particular seal that has survived, and it shows a figure which is recognizable as the god Shiva.
This ancient architectural marvel, built in the 8th century under the patronage of King Krishna of the Rashtrakuta dynasty, stands as a monument not only to devotion and artistry, but also to an engineering prowess that seems almost superhuman.
I think we're confronted by an enormous mystery with megalithic sites all around the world, and we don't understand them properly.
With its elaborate carvings and grand scale, the Kailasa temple has sparked a captivating debate. Was this colossal structure really constructed using primitive tools of the age, or does it bear evidence of intervention by an advanced civilization, possibly beyond our earthly realm?
Some people think that the answer is extraterrestrial visitors. I don't think that's the answer, but who knows?
Tucked away in the basaltic hills of Maharashtra, the Ellora Caves complex is an architectural marvel of ancient India. Spanning from 600 to 1000 AD, these caves house a remarkable blend of Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain heritage. Among them, Cave 16, better known as the Kailasa Temple, stands out as the crowning glory of the site. Historically referred to as Veral, the area's location along ancient north-south trade routes undoubtedly played a critical role in its development. The Kailasa Temple, known for being the largest monolithic rock excavation in the world, showcases the advanced state of engineering and architectural skills during the 8th century. This temple was not built but rather carved top-down from a single massive rock, requiring meticulous planning and execution that speaks volumes about the capabilities of its creators.
There are unexplained issues in our past, which are presently not explained by the system that teaches us about the past.
Under the patronage of King Krishna I of the Rashtrakuta dynasty, the temple was commissioned around the mid-8th century. King Krishna I, also known as Krishna Rajanram, embarked on this ambitious project to emulate the sacred Mount Kailash, the mythological abode of Lord Shiva. The temple not only served as a place of worship, but also as a demonstration of the power and artistic aspiration of the Rashtrakutas. During a period of British colonial expansion in India, British officers often ventured on expeditions for leisure and exploration. It was during one such excursion that the lush, overgrown vegetation of the Maharashtra region, which had concealed the Ellora Caves for centuries, finally gave way to one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in India.
A lot of archaeology that gets done doesn't get done because of a targeted search.
The year was 1819, and the caves, untouched and perfectly preserved as if in a time capsule, were stumbled upon accidentally by Captain John Smith and his party. The discovery by Captain Smith wasn't merely about uncovering a lost site, it was a revelation that peeled back the layers of India's rich and ancient civilization, which had thrived long before European powers set foot in the region. As Smith entered the caves, he was confronted with the grandeur of India's past, an intact cultural heritage that spoke volumes of its historical depth and complexity. However, Captain Smith left behind more than just the memory of his discovery. In what is now viewed as an act of historical vandalism, he inscribed his name and the date on a pillar inside Cave 10. At the time, such actions were common among explorers, who often left their marks as records of their presence. This graffiti, though frowned upon today, provided a tangible record marking the European discovery of the site and has since become a point of contention in discussions about heritage preservation versus the historical markers of colonial exploration. Following this accidental discovery, there was a renewed interest in the Ellora Caves, leading to more systematic explorations and excavations. The Archaeological Survey of India, established in 1861, took on the mammoth task of excavating and preserving these ancient sites. Their efforts were crucial in maintaining the structural integrity and historical accuracy of the caves as they faced the dual pressures of time and increasing tourism. Detailed studies and documentation efforts were spearheaded by early explorers and scholars like James Burgess and later Ghulam Yazdani. Their meticulous work in cataloguing the sculptures, iconography, and architectural styles has been compiled into extensive reports and books, which remain invaluable resources for Indological studies today. This comprehensive documentation helps ensure that the Ellora caves, including the magnificent Kailasa temple, continue to be understood and appreciated not just as monuments, but as gateways to India's illustrious past. The Kailasa temple, also known as Cave 16 at the Ellora caves, truly stands as a testament to the ancient mastery of rock-cut architecture. This stunning structure isn't just a testament to grandeur, but also to a unique construction methodology that melds religious devotion with unmatched craftsmanship. Unlike traditional buildings constructed from the ground up, this temple was carved directly out of a single massive rock, a process that required not only extreme labor but also precise planning. The effort to remove approximately 200,000 tons of rock from the site underscores the monumental human endeavor that went into its creation, likely involving hundreds, if not thousands, of laborers across several generations.
Ancient cultures all around the world preserved a memory of a high civilization, of prehistory.
Symbolically, the temple mirrors Mount Kailasa, the mythical abode of Lord Shiva, suggesting that the architects intended to create a heavenly abode on earth. This ambition is evident not just in the temple's scale, but also in its elaborate multi-storied design, which features a rare vertical expansion in rock-cut architecture. Each floor is intricately adorned with carvings and statues that bring to life stories from Hindu mythology, especially those focusing on Lord Shiva, enhancing both the religious and aesthetic appeal of the temple. Comparing the Kailasa temple to the ancient city of Petra in Jordan highlights its unique features. While Petra is renowned for its impressive facades carved into rock faces, the Kailasa temple goes a step further. It is not just a facade, but a complete excavation, with intricate vertical carvings that make its interiors as spectacular as its exteriors. Unlike Petra's relatively plain interiors, the Kailasa temple is elaborately detailed, with entire floors, columns, and ceilings that are ornately decorated to reflect Hindu religious themes. The engineering behind the Kailasa temple also addresses some significant challenges, such as maintaining structural integrity while removing massive volumes of rock. The architects and engineers employed their deep understanding of geology and engineering to ensure the stability and durability of the remaining structures. They even incorporated an ingenious drainage system to prevent water accumulation and erosion during the region's heavy monsoon seasons. Moreover, strategic placements of openings and alignments within the temple structure allow natural light to flood its interiors, enhancing the spiritual and aesthetic experience for visitors. The layout also facilitates the circulation of air and movement of devotees, crucial during religious ceremonies. These intriguing aspects of the Kailasa temple, combined with the mysteries surrounding its construction, have fueled various theories about its origins and the techniques used in its elaborate design. From theories suggesting extraterrestrial influence to speculations about advanced ancient technologies or a network of secret chambers, the temple continues to be a subject of fascination and scholarly debate.
I think the dating of quite a number of megalithic sites needs to be reconsidered.
These discussions not only celebrate the architectural genius of the temple's creators, but also deepen our appreciation for this ancient marvel. Exploring the mysteries of the Kailasa temple at a more refined level reveals a range of fascinating theories that try to explain its incredible construction. One such theory suggests that the technology and precision required for its creation in the 8th century might hint at extraterrestrial influence or the use of advanced ancient technology that has since been lost. While this idea captivates the imagination, most scholars and archaeologists believe that the temple's construction was well within the capabilities of human ingenuity at the time, pointing to similar rock-cutting techniques used across India long before the temple was built. Another intriguing theory about the Kailasa temple involves the possibility of a network of secret tunnels and chambers beneath the complex. Local legends and some speculative reports suggest that these could have served as passages for religious ceremonies or as escape routes during invasions. However, thorough archaeological investigations have yet to confirm these claims, and the natural rocky terrain of the area makes such an extensive network rather unlikely. The alignment of the Kailasa temple with celestial bodies forms yet another theory. Some believe that the temple, like many ancient structures, was designed in alignment with certain stars or planets to harness cosmic energies during significant astronomical events such as solstices and equinoxes. While there are notable celestial alignments at other ancient sites that lend some support to this theory, concrete evidence linking the Kailasa temple's orientation with celestial events remains elusive. As these theories continue to pique curiosity and scholarly debate, the significance of preserving such a monumental site has never been clearer. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Ellora Caves, including the Kailasa Temple, are the focus of ongoing preservation efforts. These efforts are crucial in protecting the site's intricate carvings and magnificent structures from both natural elements and the impacts of modern-day tourism, ensuring that this ancient marvel can be appreciated for generations to come.
There's huge areas of the world that have never been looked at by archaeology at all. Or if looked at by archaeology, looked at only minimally. Of course, the most important are the flooded continental shelves, and that's why Santa and I spent 7 years of our lives scuba diving all around the world.
Nestled at the westernmost edge of the Saurashtra Peninsula in what is now the state of Gujarat, India, the ancient city of Dwarka offers a narrative that is as rich in spirituality and mythology as it is in historical urban development.
The calculation is that 27 million square kilometers that was above water during the Ice Age is underwater now.
The city's strategic positioning near the confluence of the Gomati River and the Arabian Sea played a pivotal role not just in safeguarding it from potential invaders, but also in bolstering maritime trade and fostering connections with other parts of the ancient world. This geographical advantage, coupled with the city being enveloped by water on all sides, either as a peninsula or a series of islands, crafted a natural fortress that was a challenge for any adversary to overcome.
Most of human civilization has been organized around water, right? And as the water levels change, some of those ancient cities could be completely covered.
We did a lot of diving in southern India, so it was great for her to be able to talk in their own language to Tamil fishermen and Tamil divers and see if they'd seen any weird stuff underwater, which they certainly had.
Moreover, the Gomati River's proximity not only enhanced the city's scenic beauty, but also served as a crucial lifeline for its residents. Dwarka's urban landscape, as depicted in ancient texts, was nothing short of architectural grandeur. The city boasted of meticulously planned streets, a state-of-the-art drainage system, and formidable fortifications, all of which were divided into well-defined sectors for residential, commercial, and administrative purposes.
We know that it's been underwater for about 6,000 or 7,000 years, but the question is, how long before that was it made? How long did it stand there above water?
This level of urban planning and civil engineering sophistication showcases an advanced understanding of city management and infrastructure development, making Dwarka a marvel in ancient urban planning. The city's defensive structures, including a series of gates and fortifications, underscored the thoughtful defensive strategy employed in its construction. These were not merely architectural feats, but were strategically designed to regulate access and provide unwavering protection against invasions. Such architectural and strategic prowess points to a high degree of sophistication and indicates that Dwarka was a city that blended beauty with brains, making it a formidable entity in the ancient world.
You're coming across statues underwater, you're coming across columns underwater. It's just magical in diving on an underwater city.
Diving into the depths off the coast of modern-day Dwarka in Gujarat, India, archaeologists have embarked on marine explorations that have significantly advanced our understanding of the ancient city's grandeur and the sophisticated civilization that once flourished there. These underwater explorations have brought to light submerged structures, stone foundations, walls, pillars, and steps that many believe were part of the legendary Dwarka, a city of immense importance in Hindu scriptures. The discovery of such elaborate underwater architecture points towards the advanced engineering and construction techniques of the time, hinting at a society that was far ahead of its contemporaries in terms of urban planning and infrastructure development. The use of modern technology, including sonar scanning, diving explorations, and underwater photography, has been instrumental in mapping out the submerged city, providing us with a clearer picture of its complexity and the scale at which it operated. But the revelations don't stop at structures. A plethora of artifacts unearthed both from the seabed and land excavations near Dwarka tell tales of a culturally rich and economically prosperous society. The remnants of well-laid streets and an elaborate drainage system underscore a high degree of urban planning, indicative of a society that valued organization, environmental health, and the well-being of its citizens. Moreover, the variety of materials discovered suggests Dwarka was a bustling hub of trade and cultural exchange, maintaining connections with other civilizations of its time. This diversity not only showcases the city's economic vitality, but also its cultural openness and dynamism. But perhaps what's most fascinating is the chronological evidence unearthed through radiocarbon dating.
We have to accept that civilization in India is at least 5,000 years old. The largely and correctly discredited notion of an Aryan invasion of India needs to be abandoned.
Some artifacts and structural components of the submerged city have been dated back to the 2nd millennium BCE, aligning Dwarka's timeline with that of Lord Krishna, as described in traditional beliefs and ancient texts. This dating not only cements Dwarka's place as a significant cultural, religious, and economic center in the ancient world, but also bridges the gap between mythological narratives and historical reality. These archaeological findings offer a tangible framework to understand the evolution of urban settlements in ancient India, shedding light on societal structures, trade practices, and the cultural dynamics of the time. As we piece together clues from the past, Dwarka holds a special place in the tapestry of Hindu mythology and Indian ancient history, not just for its divine origins, but also for the mystery and majesty that encompass its story. At the heart of Dwarka's legend is its foundation by Lord Krishna, a pivotal figure in Hinduism revered across various traditions. The epic tales from the Mahabharata and the Bhagavata Purana tell us of Krishna's quest to protect his people from persistent threats, leading to the establishment of this city. It wasn't just a random choice. Krishna was strategic, opting for a location that offered natural defenses and prosperous living conditions for his subjects. Positioned on the western coast, Dwarka was a fortress against adversaries, thanks to its geographical advantages and access to vital sea routes that facilitated trade and communication. This city wasn't just a safe haven, it was a symbol of divine protection and ingenuity, blending spiritual significance with architectural splendor. The story of Dwarka, with its grand buildings and eventual mysterious submergence, captures the imagination, making it a subject of fascination and reverence. Dwarka, often hailed as the City of Gold in ancient scriptures, embodies not just the literal application of gold in its architecture, but also represents an era of unparalleled wealth, prosperity, and architectural ingenuity. This legendary city, with its palaces shimmering with gold and precious stones, grand public spaces, and formidable fortifications, stands as a testament to the zenith of ancient urban development and prosperity. The city's opulence wasn't confined to its material wealth. It extended to its sophisticated design and layout, which were attributed to Vishwakarma, the divine architect in Hindu mythology. Commissioned by Lord Krishna, Vishwakarma's vision for Dwarka was nothing short of architectural brilliance. The planning of Dwarka was meticulously executed, with distinct zones for residential quarters, marketplaces, temples, and public buildings. This segregation ensured that the city functioned efficiently, with each area serving its purpose without encroaching on another. The residential quarters, designed for comfort and accessibility, were likely constructed with not just security in mind, but also aesthetics, ensuring that the city's inhabitants lived in an environment that was safe, beautiful, and harmonious with nature. But perhaps the most captivating tale of Dwarka is its mysterious submergence.
The submergence of those sites is largely because of subsidence of land rather than sea level rise, because it's relatively recent.
Legend has it that following Lord Krishna's departure from this world, the city met its end, swallowed by the sea. This story isn't just a pivotal chapter in Hindu mythology, marking the end of an era and the onset of Kali Yuga. It has also piqued the interest of archaeologists and historians. Their underwater explorations near the modern city of Dwarka have unearthed submerged structures, offering a tangible link to the city's legendary past. These discoveries hint at the existence of a significant settlement that might have gradually succumbed to rising sea levels or other catastrophic events, giving some historical backbone to the mythological tales. The submergence of Dwarka is often seen through a symbolic lens, reflecting on the ephemeral nature of wealth and the inevitability of change. It reminds us that even the most splendid creations, no matter how grand or well-built, are not immune to the forces of time and nature. This story, rich with historical intrigue and mythological depth, continues to enchant and provoke thought, bridging the ancient with the present and the mythical with the real.
An example I often give is the Indus Valley civilization. Nobody actually knew that it existed until it was accidentally discovered while a railway was built. And then they found that there were these actually very, very sophisticated, very complex mud brick structures on a very large scale. Then they found that this culture had a language, a fully developed written script. We can't read that script. The script exists, but we can't read it.
The story of the Indus Valley civilization, one of the earliest cradles of urban life, reads like a mystery novel filled with climatic twists, geological turns, and the shadowy figures of invaders. As we dive deep into the annals of ancient history, this civilization's gradual fade from the vibrant urban entity it once was around 1900 BCE to mere remnants by 1300 BCE has puzzled scholars and history buffs alike. Let's explore some of the intriguing theories that have emerged over the years for why this civilization suddenly vanished. Imagine living in a city where the once reliable monsoon rains start becoming erratic around 2200 BCE. This wasn't just inconvenient, it was catastrophic. The Indus Valley people, whose agricultural prowess depended on these rains, faced reduced yields and possibly famine as a result. Imagine rivers, the lifelines of your trade and agriculture, changing course due to tectonic shifts. Cities that were once bustling hubs of trade and culture could no longer sustain their populations. This wasn't just about less water for crops. Entire trade routes were disrupted, especially those with Mesopotamia, putting further strain on an already struggling economy. Now add to this scenario the threat of earthquakes. These weren't just minor tremors, but possibly significant quakes that could alter river courses, destroy sophisticated drainage systems, and turn well-planned cities into inhabitable ruins. The very foundations of urban life were literally and figuratively shaken. For a time, the theory of an invasion by nomadic Aryans gained traction, suggesting a dramatic end to the Indus Valley civilization. This theory, rooted in ancient texts like the Rig Veda, depicted a clash between the invading nomads and the settled peoples of the Indus Valley. However, the absence of clear archaeological evidence of such an invasion suggests that the civilization's decline was more a slow burn than a sudden collapse. Amidst these external pressures, internal societal and economic factors were at play. The strain of maintaining extensive urban centers alongside depleting resources could have led to social unrest and made these cities unsustainable. As trade with distant lands dwindled, possibly due to emerging competitors or shifts in trade routes, the economic backbone of the civilization weakened. When the British were laying down the tracks for the Indian railway system in the 19th century, they stumbled upon something extraordinary: ruins made of well-crafted bricks in the Punjab region. Little did they know, these bricks were the remnants of the Indus Valley civilization, a society that had vanished thousands of years before. At first, these ancient bricks found a new purpose under the wheels of progress, quite literally being used in railway construction. It's a bit ironic when you think about it, an ancient civilization helping to lay the foundations for modern transportation, all while its own story was buried in oblivion. Enter Alexander Cunningham in the 1870s, a man who could be seen as a detective in the realm of history. As the founder of the Archaeological Survey of India, Cunningham was among the first to take a scholarly interest in these ruins. However, even with his reports, the true significance of what they had found wasn't fully grasped. The pieces of the puzzle were there, but the picture was yet to be seen. The plot thickens with Sir John Marshall, who took the helm of the ASI in the early 20th century. Under Marshall's direction, the ASI turned its gaze to the prehistoric past, setting the stage for a discovery that would challenge the narratives of urban civilization's origins. It was Daya Ramsani who, in 1921, began excavating at Harappa, and soon after, Rakal Das Banerjee laid bare the wonders of Mohenjo-Daro. These sites revealed to the world a civilization of astonishing complexity and sophistication, with well-planned cities, advanced drainage systems, and a plethora of artifacts that spoke of a rich cultural life. The discoveries of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were like opening a window to an ancient world, showcasing the architectural and cultural achievements of the Indus Valley civilization. This was a society that had its unique script still undeciphered, and urban planning that could rival any contemporary city today. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, with its watertight construction, hinted at a society that placed significant emphasis on cleanliness and possibly ritual purification. As more archaeologists joined the fray, Ernest Mackay, Madho Sarup Vats, and Mortimer Wheeler to name a few, the knowledge of this ancient civilization expanded. Each excavation across the Indus Valley region brought new insights. The narrative of the Indus Valley civilization challenged the then prevailing notion that complex urban life began solely with Mesopotamia and Egypt. Here was evidence of a parallel society that had flourished and then, for reasons still debated, declined and disappeared, leaving behind a legacy buried under the earth. Let's take a stroll back in time to explore Harappa, a city that once thrived in what's now the Punjab province of Pakistan. This ancient metropolis wasn't just any old city, it was a cornerstone of the Indus Valley civilization, bustling with life between 2600 BCE and 1900 BCE. The story of Harappa's discovery is as fascinating as the city itself. Initially spotted during the 19th century, it wasn't until the British were laying down railway tracks in the 1850s that Harappa began to reveal its secrets. Ironically, bricks from this ancient city were used in the construction of the railway, unknowingly dismantling a piece of history for the sake of progress. Fast forward to the 1920s, when Sir John Marshall and his team of archaeologists took a closer look and realized Harappa was part of something much bigger. They uncovered a city so advanced it would rewrite our understanding of urban planning in ancient times. Imagine walking through streets laid out in a perfect grid, with main roads up to 30 feet wide intersecting at right angles. This wasn't a haphazard settlement. It was a city built with precision and forethought, showcasing remarkable engineering skills. Harappa's infrastructure was nothing short of revolutionary. The city boasted an advanced drainage system, with covered drains along the main streets and smaller ones connecting from individual homes. This emphasis on cleanliness and public health is something many modern cities could learn from, and the buildings, all constructed with standardized baked bricks, stood as a testament to the Harappans' knowledge of materials engineering, giving the city a unified look. But Harappa wasn't just about impressive streets and sanitation. The city was alive with bustling granaries, which were central to its food storage and distribution system. These weren't just any granaries. They were massive structures located near the city's heart, hinting at a well-organized governance system that ensured the population was well-fed. Diving into the everyday lives of Harappans, we find a society that valued comfort and cleanliness. Houses, ranging from simple dwellings to more elaborate homes, often had their own wells and bathrooms. This level of domestic luxury suggests a society where social stratification was present, but also one that placed a high importance on individual welfare. And then there are the artifacts, the seals engraved with animal figures and an undeciphered script that hint at a complex system of communication, trade, administration, or perhaps even ritual. The pottery and tools unearthed in Harappa, from utility wares to beautifully decorated pieces, reflect the diverse occupations and crafts practiced in the city, painting a picture of a vibrant, bustling community. Harappa was more than just a city. It was a beacon of urban civilization, showcasing advancements that were unparalleled for its time. Its discovery and excavation have not only provided us with a glimpse into ancient urban life, but also challenged our perceptions of ancient civilizations and their capabilities. Nestled in the Sindh province of Pakistan lies Mohenjo-Daro, a site that's not just an archaeological treasure but a testament to the architectural genius of the Indus Valley civilization. This city, one of the most iconic remnants of ancient urban life, gives us a sneak peek into the lives of its people, their societal structure, and their unparalleled urban planning. The city was cleverly divided into two main areas: the lower city, bustling with residential and commercial life, and the Acropolis, where public and ceremonial buildings stood. This division speaks volumes about the level of organization and planning that went into Mohenjo-Daro. It wasn't just a cluster of buildings, it was a thoughtfully laid out city, designed for efficiency and order, with distinct zones dedicated to different aspects of daily life. But let's talk about the Great Bath, the crown jewel of Mohenjo-Daro. Imagine a large, watertight pool, meticulously constructed for religious purification rituals. Surrounded by corridors and rooms, the Great Bath wasn't just an architectural marvel. It was a central piece of the city's spiritual and communal life, emphasizing the importance of water not just for survival, but as a sacred element in their culture. The people of Mohenjo-Daro were master craftsmen, their skills shining through in the intricate beadwork, finely crafted metal objects, and beautiful pottery discovered at the site. These artifacts were not merely utilitarian. They bore the marks of artistic excellence and possibly held deeper symbolic meanings for their creators. The variety and quality of these items suggest a society that valued not only function, but form and beauty, integrating them into their everyday lives. Moreover, Mohenjo-Daro was a bustling economic center. The numerous seals, weights, and measures found among the ruins hint at a complex economy that thrived on both local and long-distance trade. This was a city that was not isolated. It was connected, engaging in commerce with distant lands, showcasing its economic prowess and its role as a significant player in the ancient world. Mohenjo-Daro, with its advanced urban planning and sophisticated architectural elements, stands as a shining example of the ingenuity of the Indus Valley civilization.
The Indus Valley civilization, nobody actually knew that it existed until it was accidentally discovered while a railway was built. Then they found that this culture had had a language, a fully developed written script. It's about 5,000 years old, but there isn't a single Rosetta Stone that enables us to translate that script into any more recent language. If you wish to pass information to a distant future, if you wish it to be preserved, you wouldn't be smart to just write it down.
Welcome to the mysterious and ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro, one of the largest settlements of the Indus Valley civilization and a marvel of prehistoric urban planning buried deep in today's Pakistan.
Since the discovery of the Indus Valley civilization, we have to accept that civilization in India is at least 5,000 years old.
Now, let's unravel the secrets of this place, explore its sophisticated drainage systems, the iconic Great Bath, and decode what secrets might have existed in this magnificent city over 4,000 years ago.
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Mohenjo-Daro, situated in the Sindh province of Pakistan, is a key archaeological site from the Indus Valley civilization, also known as the Harappan civilization. Its name, translating to Mound of the Dead in Sindhi, hints at the mysteries buried within this ancient city, offering a unique glimpse into one of the world's earliest urban societies. The site was discovered in 1922 during a broader archaeological survey of the Indian subcontinent, conducted by the Archaeological Survey of India. Rakhaldas Bandyopadhyay, known as R.D. Banerjee, stumbled upon what he initially thought was a Buddhist stupa in the Larkana district. Further investigation revealed the ruins of an ancient city, predating any known Buddhist settlements, marked by sophisticated urban features like baked brick structures.
They found that there were these actually very, very sophisticated, very complex mud brick structures on a very large scale.
Major excavations kicked off in 1924 under Sir John Marshall, the then Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, and his deputy, Ernest Mackay. Their efforts unveiled an advanced city with a well-planned layout, efficient drainage systems, brick houses, granaries, and public baths, all indicating a highly organized society. The excavation methods were quite methodical for the time, involving grid-based trench digging which allowed for a clearer understanding of the city's layout. Marshall also emphasized the use of photography and meticulous on-site notes to document the findings accurately. Among the most remarkable discoveries was the Great Bath, suggesting the site's use for ritualistic or ceremonial purposes, alongside a sophisticated sewage system that highlighted the city's advanced urban planning and sanitation awareness. Post-1947 partition of India, Mohenjo-Daro became part of Pakistan, and new excavation phases were led in the 1950s and 1960s by Pakistani archaeologist Dr. Ahmad Hassan Dani. His work helped uncover lower layers of the city and explore residential areas that had not been previously excavated.
There's a lost civilization which is now accepted by archaeology within relatively recent memory, and that's the Indus Valley civilization.
These later excavations focused more on understanding the daily lives of the inhabitants, with numerous artifacts such as pottery, tools, and ornaments providing insights into their daily activities, trade practices, and cultural aspects. As archaeological techniques evolved, later excavations at Mohenjo-Daro incorporated modern methods including stratigraphic analysis, which aided in more accurately dating the city's layers. There was also a significant emphasis on using refined conservation techniques to preserve delicate artifacts and building materials exposed during the digs. From the 1970s onwards, efforts predominantly shifted towards preserving the integrity of the site, as it faced threats from salinity, waterlogging, and deterioration of materials. In recognition of its value and the need for protection, Mohenjo-Daro was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1980, which helped attract international attention and funding aimed at preserving and protecting this ancient window into early urban life. Continuing from the intriguing discoveries and preservation efforts, the urban layout and architecture of Mohenjo-Daro are indeed remarkable, reflecting a level of sophistication and scale that's astounding for its time period, around 2600 BCE to 1900 BCE. As a critical part of the ancient Indus Valley civilization, this city offers profound insights into the early techniques of urban planning and architecture that have stood the test of time. Mohenjo-Daro spanned at least 1.5 square kilometers, with some estimates suggesting it might have covered over 5 square kilometers at its peak, making it one of the largest cities of its time. The city was meticulously planned with a grid system, dividing it into a lower town and a citadel area. Streets running north-south and east-west sliced the city into well-organized blocks, demonstrating the urban planner's keen grasp of design principles. Residential blocks were designed with precision to ensure uniform appearance from the outside and direct access to street-side drainage, reflecting a controlled approach to urban development and adherence to municipal regulations.
Is knowledge preserved and passed down through the ages? Yes, I think it is.
The city's drainage system was extraordinarily advanced for its era. Each house was connected to a street-side drainage channel through individual drainage pits, a setup that showcases early mastery in sanitary engineering. These drains, constructed from baked brick and gypsum mortar, included manholes at intervals for maintenance, features that would not be out of place in a modern city. The buildings of Mohenjo-Daro were primarily built using sun-dried and fired mud brick. Baked bricks were particularly used for constructing bath and drainage structures to better withstand moisture. The architectural variety within the city was notable, with homes ranging from small single-room dwellings to large multi-storied buildings, indicating a society with socio-economic diversity. A typical house featured a courtyard surrounded by rooms, providing light and air to living spaces, with some houses boasting 2 or even 3 stories. The standardization in brick size, typically measuring 7 by 14 by 28 centimeters, suggests there was a centralized system for the production and distribution of building materials. Most materials for construction were likely sourced locally, given the abundance of clay in the Indus region, ideal for brickmaking. However, special items like the large stones used in some public buildings might have been sourced from further away and transported to the site. When we compare the urban planning and architectural sophistication of Mohenjo-Daro with that of ancient Egypt during the same period, a fascinating picture emerges. While the Egyptians focused more on monumental structures like pyramids, constructed from large stone blocks quarried from distant locations such as Tura and Aswan, the people of Mohenjo-Daro excelled in creating a functional urban landscape that prioritized civic amenities and residential comfort. Building on the sophisticated urban planning and architecture of Mohenjo-Daro, the archaeological site is also renowned for some extraordinary artifacts that shed light on the cultural and technological advancements of the Indus Valley civilization.
We're going to see more physical evidence for this, more as time goes by.
The dancing girl is a captivating bronze figurine, merely 10.5 centimeters tall, capturing a young girl in a dynamic pose with one hand on her hip and the other casually dangling at her side. The level of detail in the figurine is remarkable, showing off intricate jewelry and a detailed hairstyle that points to a highly sophisticated sense of aesthetics and craftsmanship. This small statue is not just a piece of art. It highlights the advanced metalworking skills of the time, being one of the few metal artifacts discovered at Mohenjo-Daro. Another significant find is the so-called Priest-King statue, a small steatite sculpture standing about 17.5 centimeters high. It depicts a male figure seated, adorned in an intricately engraved robe and wearing a fillet around his head, which might have once held a feather or other decoration. The sculpture's serene expression and the precision of its beard trimming suggest meticulous grooming and possibly a high social or religious status. Some scholars believe this figure might symbolize an idealized form of leadership or divine authority, integrating both political and religious power, though it may not represent a specific individual. Perhaps the most architecturally impressive discovery at Mohenjo-Daro is the Great Bath. Located centrally on the Citadel Mound, this large pool measures roughly 12 meters by 7 meters and is about 2.4 meters deep. It's constructed from finely fitted bricks sealed with a layer of natural tar, making it waterproof, an advanced construction technique for the time. The Great Bath is believed to have been used for ritual purification rites, reflecting the civic and religious practices of the Indus people. The structure was ingeniously fed by a well, and an adjacent drain allowed for the emptying and cleaning of the bath, indicating a sophisticated management of water resources. Comparing the Great Bath with Roman baths brings interesting insights. Like Mohenjo-Daro's bath, Roman baths were central to social and religious life, going beyond mere hygiene to serve as gathering places for social interaction and ritual practices. However, Roman baths were typically more complex, featuring varied temperatures across different rooms and incorporating technologies like steam baths and underfloor heating, showing different scales and advancements in engineering. An intriguing theory related to Mohenjo-Daro's significance within the Indus Valley civilization is the hydraulic hypothesis, which suggests that the city served as a religious center coordinating the management of an extensive system of irrigation canals. This hypothesis proposes that the city's leadership wielded both political and religious authority, crucial for managing the water resources vital for agriculture in the arid environment.